Hey everybody, Russell T here with Outdoor Instructions. Today we're going to be building a compost bin. If you're anything like me, you have one of these in your backyard. This is not a compost bin, this is a landfill. So instead, we're going to build one of these, a compost tumbler. Using a 55-gallon plastic drum that you should be able to find for pretty cheap. We're also going to need some 2x6s, either new or used is fine. Some PVC pipe we'll use for spacers. And some 1-inch galvanized steel pipe that I got at the recycled materials store. In this case, they didn't have one the right length, so I got some multiple lengths that we can attach. Roughly 30 to 34 inches depending on the width of your platform and your barrel. And you also need some screws, of course. In addition to that, we will need some tools. We're going to need a circular saw, preferably, or a handsaw, a drill, power drill so we can screw in our screws and make our necessary holes, some drill bits, a speed square is kind of handy, safety goggles are a plus. Once we have all of our tools and materials rounded up, we're ready to start making our marks on our 2x6s to make our cuts. First we're going to mark the legs, which are 42 inches long in this case. Once we've made our marks, use the speed square, hatch the line, and it makes for a nice easy cut. And then we'll also, at the same time, we'll end up marking both our cross supports and our uprights, which are going to be 32 inches long a piece. Once you've made your marks, we're ready to start making some cuts. Pretty simple. And when it's all said and done, we're going to end up with a stack of boards. On our left, we have our legs, which again are 42 inches long. Our cross supports in the middle, which are 32 inches long. And then our uprights, which are also going to be 32 inches long. Once we have our boards all cut, we're going to take our legs, mark the center. We're going to use that center point to demarcate where the upright is going to go. And again, this is a 2x6 piece of lumber. So we're going to take that center point and mark 2 3/4 inches on either side of it. Again, just to line up to where this upright is going to rest. Be screwed into place. Once we've done that, we're going to line up our boards, put everything kind of resting in place, preferably on a flat surface. You can see the marks there where the 2x6s for the cross supports line up. Then we'll just take our upright, place it in there, make sure she fits. Once that's all set up, we can start sinking some screws. Now again, our finished product is going to look like this, and you can see the cross supports and the legs on the bottom and how the uprights come out from in between to support the barrel in the middle. You're going to want to make sure you sink enough screws into the uprights and into the cross supports to make sure that it can bear the weight of the barrel loaded with compost. Once our bottom bracket's all put together, we can put in our uprights. I like to put in 3 screws like so on the facing out, and then 1 more on each side for extra support. Once our uprights are in place, we're going to put our tape measure up and mark 4 inches down from the top to mark the hole where our pivot rod will go through. Make a little X marks the spot, center and center. And then we're all ready to do a drill hole using this 1-inch drill bit. Now we're ready to measure and mark our barrel, which is 36 inches tall, so the center is at 18. And here you can see the seam where the barrel is kind of put together, and that seam is equal on both sides. That's our center point. Once we find that and we've measured it, we're ready to drill our hole. Now we just want to verify the space between our barrel and our uprights, which in this case is 3 inches. And we'll mark that on this PVC pipe to be used as our spacers. Once you've made the measurements, you can just make the cuts. And voila, you have a spacer. Now comes the fun part, putting everything together. Hopefully you drilled your hole big enough to fit your pivot rod through. In my case, it's a little tight. Slide your spacer on, insert it into the barrel. And then if you're like me and you had to use multiple pieces of pipe, you're going to have to join them together. Having a pipe wrench is pretty handy for that. The next step is putting vent holes into your barrel. You want this thing to be able to breathe so the compost has some oxygen, can break down. You're going to want to put a bunch of holes in it. When you're done with that, you have yourself a happy little compost bin. The last thing we need to take care of is how to fasten our lid to the barrel. If you have a screw-on barrel, you're in good shape, but in this case, we're going to need to attach it somehow. Cheap way to do it is just using an old bike tire and a couple of cleats. That'll work. We're going to make ours a little sturdier and use bungee cords. I think this is a preferred alternative. have it. Be ready to start composting. Thanks for watching.